Hello, people. How's it going? How's it going? Hopefully, well, the window's open and stuff, so hopefully, won't be too much noise. Hopefully, shouldn't be anyway. Um, well, it's almost fall here in Minnesota. It's cloudy today. Windows are open because it's nice and cool outside. I'm, of course, dressed in more layers and could possibly have to be dressed for me, but I like layers. I always have. I'm weird that way, and I know I shouldn't do this in the middle of a video, but I know I shouldn't do this, but whatever. She needs an answer. I'm giving her an answer. It's fun that way. Anyway, I'm going to talk about some of the. I didn't buy as many books this time as I did last time, so this shouldn't take as long. I say that, but it always ends up being over 10 minutes. Anyway, the first book is the one I saw on my thumbnail, the Edgar Rice Burroughs book. I haven't read this book yet. I know nothing. I know very little about Edgar Rice Burroughs. I know he wrote Tarzan. I know he wrote. Why does I always when I say this I forget the person's name? Jack Carter of Mars. Is it Jack Carter or John? I sometimes worry about my brain sometimes, but anyway. This is he wrote Tarzan. He wrote the Edgar Rice. He wrote He wrote the The Land of Time Forgotten. Thank you. I think part of the problem is I'm trying to talk too fast, and I just stumble over my own stupidity, or my own whatever you want to call it. They wrote the Land of Time Forgot series, The People That Time Forgot. There's a third book which I have not read. The John Carter of Mars books. Not Jack Carter. Jack Carter was an actor. John Carter. I have read the first book of the Mars series a long time ago, and I liked it. But I don't know. I want to read about Edgar Rice Burroughs. I'm always more interested in the authors sometimes, more than the actual writings. Now, I've read Tarzan, the first one. Tarzan of the Apes. I've read that one. Very different than the movies. Very different than the Ron Ely TV show that was in the 70s. I mean, this Tarzan in his books is not always a nice guy. I mean, he will kill you. And he does. But it's interesting. It couldn't be done now. I mean, if they were to do the stories as he wrote them now, the howls of outrage from wokeism would reach, if they believed in a heaven, would reach the heavens. But I know nothing about him. I want to find out about him because another booktuber is going to read this book, I think, next year when he sets his plan. I'm kind of beating him to it because I know me, and this book will take me a while to read. Because I read slow when a book is like this. I just do. But I like the Tarzan book I read. The only other book on Tarzan I have is At the Earth's Core, mainly because it's at the Earth's core with dinosaurs, therefore I bought it. I have read At the Earth's Core, though. I have read this Edgar Rice Burroughs book about the Earth's core. That was good, too. I like that one. Even the movie's not. The movie's a little campy, but it's still not bad. If you like Peter Cushing and Doug McClure and Carolyn Monroe, and how can you not like Carolyn Monroe? What is wrong with you? It's like not liking puppies or something. But At the Earth's Core is pretty good. It's campy, but it's a good book. Good movie. And By the Time Forgot is not bad as a movie. It's campy. People That Time Forgot, not bad, but not as good as the first one. But anyway. As Edgar Rice Burroughs. I'll probably read him after I'm done reading that one. I'm about halfway done. A little over halfway done. Robert E. Howard was an interesting guy. A little complex, but he was an interesting guy. Maybe once I'm done with Robert E., I'll read this one. On to the next thing. I actually didn't know they were still doing the Guinness Book of World Records. When I saw this book, I figured, I should have this for my writing shelf. Where you have the dictionaries and your almanacs and your writing stuff that, helps you write better. But I didn't realize they were still doing Guinness Book of World Records. So I got it. I got this at Goodwill. It's not too bad. I'll buy a book for any reason. When I started reading this book, The World of Our Fathers, the journey of the East European Jews to America and the life they found and made. This book is very good. I like this book. This book is excellent. Neighbor just came home. It's emotional. It's. I find it very well done, written details about early immigration and what they put up with and what they had to endure, even before they got here. I mean, this is an excellent book. I like Jewish history. I'm trying to find where the sun is not. Funny, there's no sun outside yet. I still have glare. There you go. Trying to figure out a way to we can see it. Anyway, excellent book. Excellent book on Jewish history. Excellent Jewish. I'll just read it back. There are 2 million of them. They were the East European Jews who, during the 4 decades beginning in the 1880s, came to America in the Great Migration. Here is their story: how they tried to keep their Yiddish culture while making their way in the new society. The story is classically American. It is also inevitably Jewish. Here's every aspect of Jewish life: the old country village, the Atlantic crossing, the teeming life of New York's East Side, the Yiddish press and theater, the settlements, the socialists, the sweatshops, the Hebrew schools. From the immigrant families came the arts and movements that affected all Americans, including the New Deal, social reform, contemporary humor, musicals, movies, and the American Jewish novel. I like this. I mean, I've been reading it off and on here and there. I've been reading it straight through. I've been picking parts that look interesting to me. I'll eventually read the whole thing normally. I'm not normal, but excellent. I got an Agatha Christie novel for reasons that'll come clearer eventually. I like Agatha Christie. I like Agatha. I liked Agatha Christie when she showed up in the Doctor Who episode. That was cool. That was cool. Death on the Nile, which I still think, as much as I love David Suchet, Peter Ustinov did a better job. I like Peter Ustinov. In some of the Perot stories more than Suchet, and some of the Suchet better than Peter Ustinov. Just sometimes it works better, but anyway. Death on the Nile, excellent novel. I can tell you who did it, but then again, you might not have read it. This book I just bought because I like finding these books of different countries, of different cultures, written long time ago. This was written in 66. Man of the People. I mean, I have heard of him. I've heard of this author. I don't know if you can see him on it. Chinua? I don't know how to say this man's name without butchering his poor name. But so Chinua TV captures the mood of the West African country. That is the back of his novel. I'm not going to try to say these guys' names. I'll just end up screwing it. But I haven't read it yet. But I like these kind of books. I like finding these novels that have just of countries or cultures that have just either been out of print or just been forgotten or just somebody sat down and wrote this. This guy sat down and wrote this for a reason. And that's why I like finding these old books, these old novels, these old nonfiction books that just look interesting. They were a slice of life at a different time that I'm living, historical time that I'm living. I know very little about African history. Should know more, but I don't. I'm already at almost 9 minutes and I'm not even halfway done yet. Welcome to my world. But it looks interesting. I believe it takes place in Nigeria, Revolution 1966, I think. Or it ends in the military coup. But anyway, thought I heard somebody parking outside. With the window open, that's just the way it works. And there's Rex Stout, Nero Wolf. I love Nero Wolf. I love the Maury Harkin and Timothy Hutton version on TV. I thought they were great. I really love the Nero Wolf mystery stories. I love the series, and it's a shame that they got canceled for something dog, the bounty hunter, whatever that crap that show was. They got rid of a great TV show for crap, which is why A&E pretty much died. But I love Nero Wolf. He is cool. Maury Harkin, probably not even saying his name right, but he was great as Nero Wolf. So was Timothy Hunt was great as Archie Goodwin, and well, his dad was pretty good as Elroy Queen. I haven't been able to find any Ellery Queen novels anymore. I'm trying to find some of him and some of Charlie Chan for a reason. There was a reason why I was getting all these detective novels, and unfortunately, the idea may or may not happen now. But I don't mind. I like detective stories. Mirror Wolf. I like Mirror Wolf. Was it Seventh of a Ton? I'm not a god, Archie. I'm a genius. Stop pestering me. One of the better lines. But anyway, this book, I'm not sure why this is here because I think I've already talked about it. But Dick Francis, all his crimes take place in or around horse racing. I have not read this book, but I've always heard about him. Constantly, I've heard about him through detective YouTubes and this, that, and the other. So I figured I'd give it a shot. Give it a shot and see if he really is the grand master of crime fiction. Probably is. Looks like someone just texted me again. Then we have the Lovejoy Mysteries, which I used to watch on the BBC with Ian McClellan. Not Ian McClellan. That's Gandalf. Ian McShane. So many Ians. Anyway, Ian McShane was very good as Lovejoy. He was also very good as Judas and Jesus of Nazareth. He was also in the Battle of Britain movie, who I don't remember what his character name was. But I like the Lovejoy Mysteries. I always did. I always found them interesting. I was like BBC. But I found that half-price bookstore and I figured, well, I should read them again. It's been a while since I've read a lot of mysteries. Part of the reason I'm reading a lot of mysteries lately is I'm trying to finish the mystery story that I'm writing. I actually wrote it and finished it a long time ago as a rough draft. And now I'm just trying to rewrite it and finish it and make it worth reading. It doesn't sound like crap. Because Agatha Christie, I am not. I'm not Agatha Christie. I'm in the same gender. And the Whiskey Rebellion. The Whiskey Rebellion, a classical confrontation between the champions of liberty and defenders of order, marked the first large-scale resistance to the law of the U.S. government under the Constitution. George Washington's orders to have an army of 13,000 men crush a tax rebellion among frontier farmers in 1794 established a range of precedents that continues to define federal authority over localities today. I had this book years ago, and I never got around to reading it. But it's interesting. It's American history. It should be very interesting. I mean, this country's founding was wrought with lots of dangers. A lot of things could have destroyed this country in its early first 50 years, like the War of 1812, which didn't help. But that looks interesting. And then there's Shays' Rebellion. I also had this a long time ago. During the 1780s, two societies came into conflict in New England. As subsistence-level, local community-oriented independent farmers saw their way of life threatened by acquisitive and individualistic commercial groups. When post-war economic conditions led to merchants to demand the payment of debts in specie, farmers found themselves in debtors' court and threatened with loss of their lands. Their first response was to plead peacefully for relief in 1784 to 87. But receiving none, many formed a regulation movement and urged to armed resistance to close the courts, 1787 to 88. The Massachusetts government quickly crushed the uprising, but its overreaction led people to abandon hope of change through the legislative action and turn instead to a kind of anti-governmental social banditry. With its identification of these three stages, in New England, wide scope, and the demonstrations that interstate spurring the ties among the rebels. Basically, they got tired. Said, okay, you go with something. But another problem during the early years after the Revolution, the War of 1812, which would have, American history is interesting. I like American history. I like history, period. But, things like this are interesting. Little moments of history that no one knows about. Little moments that are forgotten. Like Shays' Rebellion, the Whiskey Rebellion, the undeclared War of France. I'll never understand people who don't like history. But then again, I loved history most from my first year of freshman in high school. But I like history. I have a hard time reading those things, but I mean out loud and Facebook, YouTube. But hopefully, after I read it a little bit, I'll do a better review on it. I'm gonna start trying to do book reviews on one of the stuff I read. Excuse me. And I got this little short life of Kierkegaard. I like philosophy. I will study philosophy. I like reading. I took a philosophy class at Century College. I like Kierkegaard. I think that he made a very good, strong point when he said, the hardest place to be a Christian is in church. And he wasn't wrong. He was not wrong. The tower's building. And I know for you non-golf fans, I read this book a long time ago, but I found it at Goodwill and it only cost $1. So I like golf. I miss golf. I like reading books about golf. I like reading books about biographies of golfers. I like Van Hogen. Van Hogen is probably my favorite golfer I've ever seen play. I got into golf, I think, sometime a little after Payne Stewart unfortunately died. For some reason, I got into golf because of that, I think. But then again, I might be trying to connect with my dad, but who knows? Golf is golf. I like golf. Then I bought a Perry Mason omnibus. Raymond Burr played a great Perry Mason. He is Perry Mason. But this is an omnibus of 3 of his novels of Earl Stanley Gardner's Perry Mason. Great show. I've never read a Perry Mason. But The Case of the Velvet Claws is the very first Perry Mason, so I'll read that. I like murder mysteries. I always have. I like books. And I'm already in almost 17 minutes. So that's all right. I'm on the last book anyway. And of course, it's Agatha Christie. I mean, I've read her autobiography. I kind of bought this book to find out, to get into the mind of a detective writer. I mean, how do they write them? Because I know my short story sucks. It is crap. Which I think it is anyway. But that's just me. I haven't read this yet. There's probably one other Agatha Christie biography I might get. Because I was actually expecting it to be bigger. It's not bad. I mean, I have skimmed through it. It's not a bad book. I mean, she was an interesting lady. And it was fun. I mean, I liked her novels. I like her short stories. I like the Peter Ustinov movies. I like the David Suchet versions. I'm forgetting what the guy's name is. Albert Finney. I liked Albert Finney in Murder on the Orient Express. I haven't seen the Kenneth Branagh's version, but I like that movie, Murder on the Orient Express. I'm mostly reading her and a few others to find out how to write them better, how to write one. I want to at least get this one murder mystery I've written done. I mean, it's been sitting there for 20-odd years, and it's in rough draft form, but it's not doing me any good in rough draft form. But anyway. Put all these books away after I finish here. I have lots of books. But anyway, cars are going by. Probably wondering what I'm doing. I'm doing looking at my window. But yes, as soon as I'm done with Robert E. Howard, I'm reading this one. Because I am interested in Brenda, these things. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if Edgar Rice Burroughs is considered pulp fiction, though. See, I would consider him pulp fiction. Maybe. But, what a book. There it is. But anyway, those are the books I bought in the last, week and a half, 2 weeks. Since the last time I did one of these, what did I buy lately videos. Now, I'm pretty sure that none of this interests most people, but I like books. I love books. And 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes. It's about 5 minutes longer than I wanted it to be. I love books. I can talk about them. I need to talk about them better. I probably need to write down notes. I always feel self-conscious when I'm reading the notes while I'm talking. So I think I'm just trying to talk, and I don't think that's going to work. But it's getting cold. But anyway, I am going to shut this down. We're almost at 20 minutes. I'm going to try to do one more, maybe 2 more today. One's going to be on the Miami Dolphins. And it's my team. It is 1972 since the perfect season, so I'm going to probably talk about the 3 books that I have on the subject. Well, people, you behave yourselves because you know I won't. I will see you later.